Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Playoffs, it's finally here. It's been a long season into the playoffs. Hope everyone is doing great tonight. What's up, JP? Yes, I have the chain on now. What's up, Terry Walker? What's up? What's up, Ben Dixon? Yeah, Ben, I'm excited for these wild card games. It's about time we get the playoffs. I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but there's one thing that really let me down this week. I wanted to see Lamar Jackson play. Really was hoping Lamar Jackson would be back. Even Sammy Watkins called him out today. Looks like he won't even travel with the team, so he's out. Mike Williams out for the Chargers. I kind of figured that when I did the YouTube short, but maybe I was on a little bit of hopium. What's up, Mad Marlou? What's up, Johnny Guns? Yeah, there's going to be some trickery, man. There's going to be some trickery. Like, that's one reason why I'm picking the Bucs against the Cowboys. Since you're a Cowboys fan and you watched every game, the Cowboys have been their last 6-7 games of the year has been something that has confused me more than anything. Like, I don't understand how the defense is getting torn up. I don't understand how the pass rush just doesn't straight up dominate games. I don't understand why they don't mix up coverages. They just play man-to-man the whole game. The fact that a lot of people are riding with the Bucs when you look at like the talent barrier between the teams, I mean, kind of says it all. What's up, Warren Flowers? Good to see you too. What's up, Tony? Yeah, man, I do wonder what the Dolphins are going to do. I do think they're going to do something big, and I don't know if they can go into next season with Tua. Like, I thought Tua was good this season. But the concussions are just too much, man. And that was a game that should have been good. You remember when the Saturday games first started, we hit the Dolphins to cover the +7.5, but that was Tua playing. Now that game is unbettable. Like, I feel like there's a few unbettable games this week. Like, I understand you guys wanting to go for San Fran to cover against Seattle. What is it at right now? Last I saw it was at 10. Let's see what it is. Okay, it's at 9.5, 10. That's a little bit frustrating. Then this like Dolphins-Bills game is at 13.5, and that is just something that I don't think we can bet, especially with the way the Bills lead teams in games. I did see Mike Glennon might be playing quarterback this week, earlier in the week. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to start, though. Yeah, man, Cowboys should win, but they should have beat Green Bay, too. They should have beat Green Bay by like 20 points. I was finally vindicated about the Green Bay stuff. That's a trash team, man. And the Lions proved it. The Lions played their like B- game and whooped their ass in Lambeau Field. Yeah, Tua's not playing, Alistair. Tua's not playing. And I don't know if any NFL team can go into a season with him as a quarterback any longer. I'm not trying to throw stones at him. Like I said, I was impressed with him this year. The first 6 weeks, he won us a lot of money. So credit to Tua for that. But I just don't think you can put him at quarterback for any NFL team. Like, it just seems like he's one of those boxers, like they just took too many punches and they're trying to fight when they're 40. And then like, it's not even a good punch, and they get a good punch and then they get knocked out. Like, that's how I feel about Tua. Yeah, Skylar AD, thank you, my man. Skylar Thompson has been named starter for Miami. Well, that's not good news. It's really funny with what we've been seeing this year. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Take Brock Purdy out of this discussion. because he's continued to be good. But you notice like these backup quarterbacks come in. The first two games, they look pretty decent, maybe even actually look good. And then after the second game, they get absolutely annihilated. That's pretty much what's going to happen to Skylar Thompson. I mean, that Bills defense has a ton of holes, though. Ton of holes. And thank you for the super chat, Alistair. San Fran been going off. McCaffrey, Kittle, yeah, and they got a good matchup with Seattle, man. I just feel like Seattle's out of steam. The Rams money line didn't go to fruition, but the spread money pick came to fruition. Listen, man, that Seahawks front seven, I don't think they can physically stop the San Francisco run game. I don't know if you guys have another opinion. I'm sure Pete Carroll has some tricks up his sleeve. I'm worried about Seattle's defense and the way the 49ers have been playing. They've been getting to the 30s every single game. Like, they weren't even doing that with Jimmy G. They've been getting to the 30s every single game with Brock Purdy, without Deebo Samuel, with a lot of other injuries, and now it looks like they're healthy going into the playoffs. Like, 49ers are my pick to win it, man. You guys were asking me. Last year, I picked the Rams. This year's a lot harder to predict, in my opinion. I'm going 49ers. I'm going 49ers to lift the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers are probably the safest bet. When I look at the AFC, can we just admit it's a crapshoot? Like, even if you have a pick for the AFC, can we just be honest and admit it's a crapshoot? Like, it's going to be decided by a bounce of a ball, by a bad call in the last 2 minutes by a ref. How maybe even go to overtime like last year with the Chiefs Bills. Can we all just kind of agree with that? And when I look at this 49ers team, I feel like we haven't even seen their A game this year. Like, look at how long Armstead has been injured. He's finally getting healthy. Like I said earlier about Deebo Samuel, he's finally getting healthy. Like, I just don't think we've even seen the best out of San Fran. And when I look at the main targets in the NFC, like, my Vikings, come on, if they played the 49ers, they'd get absolutely bum rushed. Giants would get bum rushed. Eagles, I don't know if the Eagles are peaking at the right time. Like, is it just me? Or am I the only one who felt like the Eagles peaked in like early October? Remember when we were like betting them first half spread every single week? And I felt like they've kind of faded off and they ran out of ideas on offense. And I do wonder about Hurts' injury. I know they're telling us it's going to be good. It's only a little bit sore, but I am a little bit worried about that, man. I am a little bit worried about that. Which games is there going to be weather, Warren? Because when I was looking earlier this week, it didn't seem like weather would be a factor in anything. Because I actually looked specifically Tuesday before I did the video. Obviously, weather changes, but enlighten me that I'll comment on it. Yeah, Alistair, yeah, they barely used them this year. So, like I said, like and thank you for the super chat, sir. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to diminish how good that guy is. And it's not like you need to do anything sophisticated. You just give him the fucking ball, and he's an absolute monster. Like, I think people have a short-term memory how damn good that guy is. Okay. Aaron says, I live in California, and it's pouring hard in Northern California, and this Saturday a storm is supposed to come in. Okay. For me, that favors the 49ers. I don't know about you guys, because let's look at the weakness of the 49ers. I think they only have one weakness. Okay, maybe two. My main weakness of the 49ers is that secondary. Listen, remember when we had the Chiefs money pick to beat them in San Fran? That's kind of what I'm talking about. And that secondary kind of has struggled the whole year. Even though their pass rush can cover up a lot of the baggage in the secondary, I think that's the weakness. If it's downpouring, throwing the ball is obviously tough. And I do think like Seattle's kind of out of ideas. And I know Seattle's young offensive line has played better than I expected. Like, listen, man, one thing I was wrong about, I felt like the two worst offensive lines in the league would be this. I picked Chicago to be the worst offensive line. I'm pretty sure I was right about that. But I also thought Seattle would have the worst offensive line next to Chicago. I'm obviously wrong about that. But can we just take a deep breath and just say, okay, like, is the Seattle offensive line going to be able to run it? Probably not. Are they going to be able to pass block Bosa? Probably not. I just don't see how it comes to fruition. Zamora with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. I'm in a pick'em group for the playoffs. We're guessing total points for Buffalo versus Miami. What would your guess be? I'm guessing a 27-10. Yeah, I'm guessing a 27-10. So 37. I had that game going under, I think it was at like what, 43, 42. I'm going 27-10. Like, I don't think Buffalo wants to take them out to the back and absolutely demoralize them, man. I just think the Bills, they're going to do what they need to do. They're going to get their 3 touchdowns. They're going to kick two field goals. And Miami, they might get some garbage points. So that's what I would go with. Yeah, what do I think about the under in the San Fran game? This is one that's a little bit risky. Okay, let's look at what it's at now. Okay, 42. Guys, I would actually lean towards that over. This is one I struggled with all week. Like, a lot of the over-unders I had a good feeling on this week. I only say over because of this, without further knowledge of how bad the weather's going to be. I think there's a high possibility San Fran runs for 200 rushing yards. And when you do that in this league, we know what the end result normally is, 30 points. That's where I'm at. And this wouldn't be the first time we've seen the Seahawks run defense absolutely thrashed, man. No, I don't think the Giants cover, man. I'm in the minority about it. It would have made for a better upset video if I picked the Giants to cover. But I watched the first meeting. Vikings were up like 10 points with 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go. And of course, the Vikings let them back in the game, almost lost the damn thing. But I do think people are underestimating how bad the Giants secondary is. And at a certain point, doesn't the Vikings defense have to have some sort of response? Like, is Daniel Jones going to go in and beat a team with more talent? I don't think so. I think the Giants lose by 10 points. Betting the Vikings is a little bit risky, especially these last 6 games. Look at, like, Vikings barely could take out the Jets. Like, that was one of the sweatiest bets I've had this whole damn year. But at a certain point, don't you have to invest in receivers? Like, did the Giants really outplay the Vikings? Like, there's a reason why you pay Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, because they catch the ball, and TJ Hawkinson. Like, when your best receiver is Ricky James, that's kind of what you get. Vikings did get some turnovers, but they get turnovers every single game this whole year. That's why they are where they are. For me, man, picking the Giants just comes down to Dayball magic. Like, that man, for me, is the coach of the year. One thing I wanted to ask everyone, who is your coach of the year? I don't know if they're still taking bets for it. Are they? I was looking at it last week. Okay, here we go. Yeah, man, I don't know what Seattle's going to do, RG. I don't know what they're going to do. Because, like I said, if Seattle can block decently, especially on the pass block, they're going to be able to make plays. Not a whole lot, but they're going to be able to make some plays when you got Metcalf and Lockett. And, like, we saw how important Lockett was last week. And that's why I've been saying this whole year, I think Lockett's more important for Seattle than Metcalf. So if you're a Seattle fan, it's good he's back. But yeah, obviously those spreads are not all that enticing. Like they're just not enticing when you get big spreads like that. And none of these. And like, listen, it's really disappointing what happened to Miami and Tua, man. It's really disappointing. Gruden. Oh man. Yeah, Aaron, I don't think it's all that biased to pick Shanahan. I don't really think it's all that crazy. Like, look at what he did with Brock Purdy. And I can't, that's where I'm at, Tony. I can't argue with Dayball either. I think this is like the hardest year to pick coach of the year. Peterson and Dan Campbell, they've been phenomenal this year, man. Both of them have been absolutely phenomenal. Okay, yeah. Here we go. Okay, let me get to the Patreon questions. Yeah, Matt Rule, man. Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's been good this year. I just don't think Pete Carroll's all that great a coach, though. Like, I've never been like a big Pete guy. Dustin, I could put you on the fucking sideline with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and a bunch of good wide receivers and a top 5 offensive line in college football, and I think you could lift the same natty. So Brian Cushing on USC's defense. Like, I just think Pete Carroll's always been a little bit overhyped. Like, I know I'm only 32 years old, but I actually remember Pete Carroll's other jobs with the Jets, with the Patriots. It just wasn't all that impressive. Like, listen, like Pete's looking pretty good this year in the jogging suit, traded Russell Wilson away, getting to the playoffs with Geno Smith. It's all commendable. And like, listen, it was a power move by him. I just feel like he's been overrated for a long time, and I never really considered him an elite coach. The success of their defense was because they had so many dogs, and they would just call cover 3 every play, and they would eat everything up. Johnny, I was thinking about this week. I'll read it out. For these tough games, I like to track line movement. I know it doesn't paint the whole picture, but when the majority of the money is on the Niners and the line is moving to the Hawks, that says something. Yeah. For me, what that says to people with big money that they respect, that put in the big bets every week, and that have good records are probably taking the Seahawks. That's what it says to me. Yeah, like I remember when Pete Carroll was coach of the Jets. Like, so you don't want to use that against him. I mean, that was like fucking 15 years ago. But I do think it's the point stands, and like I feel like he's more of like a motivational coach, and that's all well and good. But this is a tactical league, so the point stands. Yeah, good recruiter for college. Okay, I'm going to answer this question, then I'm going to get to the Patreon questions. Shush business. How many years without winning a Super Bowl do the Patriots have to have before we admit it was all Brady and Belichick is overrated? Man, I've been thinking that for the last 2 years. Here we go. I've been thinking this for a long time, my man. And it's been a fun ride ever since Brady left. We've made so much money fading the Patriots. For some reason, people with big money continuously bet the Patriots, the so-called sharps, always bet the Patriots. And there's times to take the Patriots, there's times not to. I say this to say that. I do think Belichick is overrated, man. I do think he is. And I know the Patriot way, it sounds good. It sounds good in a society with like very little discipline or very little, dedication to any sort of cause. We live like in a very individualistic society, but let me tell you something. I think Belichick's personality is the main issue. What he did to Mac Jones this year with when Mac Jones came back and he benched him for Bailey Zappi, just says a lot about the man. And then look at Mac Jones in his rookie year with McDaniels at offensive coordinator, and look at how he was with Matt Patricia. Like, listen, Bill Belichick knows more about football than us. Like, he does. Like, he's an absolute genius. Like, he just knows a ton about football. But he's got serious personality issues, and that shit's going to come up. It's going to bite you in the ass. Like, when you put Matt Patricia as an offensive coordinator for a young quarterback in this league, you are pretty much letting that young quarterback have career suicide. And there were some games where Mac Jones actually looked good. Like that first game against the Ravens, I know he threw 2 picks, but that is just the main example. And then at defensive coordinator, he has his son. When people start giving sons jobs, that's when you know it's going left. And I think you're right. I don't think you're wrong about that. And I think Brady put the dunk on it, the tomahawk, so to speak, when the first year he leaves, he gets a ring. It's just, so I don't think there's much argument. Okay, let's get to the Patreon questions. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you for all the support this week. Getting good views on the videos, even with the playoffs. The Hound. What's up, my guy? Had to edit the question after seeing the news on Mike Williams. What is Mike Williams? What the hell was Staley doing playing him in a meaningless game? How does this change your thoughts on the Chargers-Jags game, if at all? The Hound. I made a post on Instagram, and I pretty much said the same thing. What is Staley doing? I was trying to tell everyone on last Friday's call-in show, if you were there, I was trying to tell anyone who would listen, the Chargers cannot improve their seeding with what happened at the 1 o'clock game. I was trying to tell it. Brandon Staley putting Mike Williams out there when he's injury prone is a bonehead decision. And honestly, man, we've always had questions about Brandon Staley in this podcast. I know he gets a lot of love from the media. Everyone loves him, and he says all the right things at the right time. But we've always had questions about him, but I'm getting worried now. I'm really worried about it because I plan on them having an 80% Mike Williams, 100% Keenan Allen, and Everett ripping up the middle of the Jags' bad pass defense. That's what I planned on. And then right after I made the short today, I see Mike Williams out. It's just, I got really mad about it, actually. But with that being said, I don't think it's enough to shift the game. I don't think it's enough because the Chargers don't really use Mike Williams right. Like this whole year, when Mike Williams has been in there, everything is underneath for the Chargers. And that's one thing that has really frustrated me about them the whole damn year. Everything's underneath. Nothing's over 15 yards. Everything's dink and dunk. Like Herbert has a damn laser, and yet everything is a check down. They've gotten a little bit better as the year went on, especially these last 6 weeks. I'm just sticking by the Chargers, though, because, listen, we love the Jags on this channel. We never gave up on the Jags, even after them getting blown out by Detroit. But I'm not confident in what the Jags are doing either. I'm not confident. One thing that's worrisome is where has this Jags run game gone? Where has that gone? And then secondly, this Jags defense, they got Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, some good interior pieces too, and yet their pass rush isn't consistent. Their pass rush just isn't consistent, man. And that's one thing. I picked the Jags to win that division preseason. I believe I did. I picked them to win the division because I thought like that pass rush would bring legitimacy to that defense. It just hasn't worked out that way. So I think the Chargers win a nail biter. I think they win a nail biter. Yeah. I'm rooting for Lawrence too, but if bets will be up on Patreon tonight, by the way. I'm rooting for Lawrence, but we got to know when to turn into Cinderella's shoe. And Hound, I ask you this, my man. Have these last 3 or 4 performances from the Jags been convincing to you? I was really shocked by what I saw against the Titans. Like, listen, I never thought it was going to be easy. I never thought the Jags would go in there and just completely rain and dunk on the Titans. I knew it would be an absolute grinder and a battle because we know Mike Vrabel is an absolute stud at coach. But even the Jets one where we had the Jags to money pick over the Jets, it just was a little bit of a slog. And I can't say I've seen them hit the heights of since they played the Cowboys. I just haven't seen them get into full rhythm. And I am worried about that offense running the ball because their whole resurgence started on offense because they were running it. And the way you want to attack the Chargers is to run it. And when I made the YouTube short today, I pretty much said, I think this comes down to which secondary plays better. And I think the Chargers secondary is better. Sean Payton coming to Arizona, I don't know about that. Yeah, and like that's the thing with the Jags, Hound. They're a rhythmic football team. And yes, it's great to be a rhythm football team, especially when you find rhythm. Like it's either feast or famine with the Jags. Even when they were losing games earlier this year, it was like that. They'll go 5 drives, 3 and out. Then they'll go 3 drives, fucking 80 yards every single drive for 3 touchdowns. And then they're back in the game. And then they get out of rhythm again. They might be the most, I wouldn't say they're the most inconsistent team in the league, but they're pretty damn inconsistent. And when they get hot, they get hot. But I don't know if I can count on that. And I don't know if that home field's helping them. Like everyone's trying to say, like, oh, the West to East Coast. Like, bro, the game's at 8:30 or 8 o'clock on Saturday. I'm sure the Chargers will be good. If fucking Brandon Staley didn't get Mike Williams hurt. It really made me mad, man. It really made me mad. Yeah, I like the Jags too, man. I feel like we got enough money out of them this year. It's time to go back and for them to come back next year and hopefully make some improvements. I can see that. If there is an upset, it will be the Bucks or Giants. I can see that. I can see that. I'm not high on the Giants like you guys, though. Like, I think we need to understand limitations of that team. And it's like, listen, it's fun to shit on the Vikings and call them overrated, but we've been saying the Vikings were overrated since week 6. Like, we have to just kind of like take the Vikings for what they are. The only thing that concerns me about the Vikings this week is O'Neal, the right tackle, is out. But at least the Vikings got Christian Darrisaw healthy. Justin Jefferson got shut down the last 2 games. You think that's going to happen for a 3rd straight game? And I do think the Giants have a bad secondary, and they play an awful lot of man-to-man. If Kirk Cousins doesn't choke with the blitz, I should see the Vikings getting 27-30, and I don't think the Giants hold up. No, I do think Keenan Allen's more important than Mike Williams. I do. Yeah, no, I think you're right. And the Chargers have developed other deep threats like Palmer. And Everett's been absolutely phenomenal this year, especially the last 6-7 weeks of the season. I think you're right. I would not debate that. Yeah, Tasha, YouTube's killing me, man. YouTube's killing me, man. The algorithm didn't get the alert. It's good. We're going to go long tonight. Okay, let's get to Derek. What's up, Derek? Hey, John, if you had to remove one game off the 7-point teaser, which would it be? San Fran -2.5, keep it. Chargers +4.5, keep it. Buffalo -6.5, keep it. Minnesota +4. Let me think. Cincinnati -2.5, keep it. Tampa Bay +9.5. Yeah, okay. Go San Fran -2.5. Chargers +4.5. Buffalo -6.5. Minnesota +4, and go Cincinnati -2.5. Listen, it came down to Minnesota and Tampa for me. I think Tampa wins the game. I don't know how. I don't know how, but we've had a lot of these games this year. Sometimes just saying like, oh, fuck, Brady or Rodgers will take care of it has been good enough. It's just that type of year. But if there is a team to get blown out, I would say Tampa is more likely to get blown out than Tampa Bay. And if you look at Giants games this year, even if they play really good, they only win by like 3 points. So you should be safe with the Vikings +4. So I think that's good. And then Derek asked, what team are you most and least confident in this week? I'm least confident in the Cowboys. I'll start with that, man. Because let's go to this Cowboy game for a second. Dude, Luke, you're right. The Bucs fucking suck, man. Like, I agree, but hear me out on that. Hear me out just for a second. Because you're right. Like, the Bucs are terrible, man. Bucs are terrible. But I gotta tell you, man, what happened to the Cowboys defense this year? Like, the whole reason why I fell in love with the Cowboys team this year was because the defense and defensive line. And I'm worried about Dak Prescott in this game too. We saw it when he first came back against Detroit. There was no interceptions. There was no consequences. They won comfortably. But if Detroit played a little bit less sloppy football, Detroit could have won that game. It's just an example. And it just seems like Dak is unraveling. And I'm not using his performance against the Commanders as my thesis statement. Like, bro, like we've seen plenty of teams lay an egg in those type of games. Like, let's just like cut that out. But one thing we should take from the Commanders game is if you can stop the Cowboys run game, then it's up to Dak Prescott. We saw what happened last year against San Fran. We saw what happened against the Commanders. And that's where I'm at, man. And there's just been, I just think Dak unravels here. There is absolutely no science. Absolutely no science. And this Todd Bowles defense has been disappointing this year, right? I mean, how many worse coached teams in this league are there than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Like, how many teams are more poorly coached? I'll wait. Maybe like 3 or 4. But the only thing Todd Bowles is really good at as a defensive coordinator, if he's calling the plays, I don't know what Todd's doing this year, But we know that Tampa Bay run fits are good, and we know Vita Vea is an absolute monster to block. So you got to think Tampa Bay has a good chance to stop the Cowboys' run. And if you stop the Cowboys' run, when Dak goes back to throw it, outside of CD Lamb, what target are you really scared of? And I will say something. The Bucs had some encouraging performances. Like, listen, we remember those fumbles against Cincinnati. We remember that. But I was actually somewhat encouraged off what they did. Now, someone can go to Google and look this up. It is looking like Ryan Jensen will play for the Buccaneers. One of the best interior offensive linemen in the league hasn't played this whole year. It looks like he could be back. Now, I understand someone's going to say, Lawson, is anyone getting worse right tackle play in this league than the Buccaneers? No, you're right. That's what I'm worried about. I just think this is going to be an absolute grinder. I think this is going to be an ugly game to watch. I wouldn't show this to the kids, or I wouldn't show this to a new fan of football by any means. But I just think the Bucs somehow grind this out. There is no science. Like, Cowboys got a good squad, man. They do, man. I just wanted to see what opinions you guys had, because I hate picking games like that. Absolutely hate it. That's kind of why I picked San Fran last year in the first round against them. I felt like the Cowboys were better than that Jimmy G-led team last year. But it didn't make a damn bit of difference. And am I the only one worried about Mike McCarthy as well? Like, it's easy to throw Todd Bowles under the bus, but I'm fucking worried about Mike McCarthy as well. This is pretty rough. There are some rough games, man. John Puff, one team will get blown out more than 17 points. I would not be surprised if one of these teams doesn't show up. Brandon Medeiros, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Do you think Miami lose by more than 16.5? Yes, just barely. I think they lose by 17 points. I think they lose 27-10. So if my math is right, 17. Are you doing a teaser by any means, Brandon? Good question, Derek. And the team I'm most confident in is San Fran. Unfortunately, it is tough to lay 9.5 points. But they're probably the team I'm most confident in. I think they win the Super Bowl. Hit the Rams last year, not as confident in San Fran. But if I had to do a Super Bowl future bet, I would probably go with San Fran or the Eagles. I think this AFC is going to be an absolute crapshoot. And am I the only one worried about the Bills? Like, I'm not worried about them against Miami. But I will tell you a team I'm worried about. I'm worried about the Bills. I'm worried about their defense. Like, we saw Rousseau getting a really good pass rush against the Patriots. He stepped up since Von Miller's been out. But I am worried about that. I am worried about that. I'm worried about their secondary. There's a lot of things that I'm worried about in this Bills defense. I do think the Bills are frauds, and everyone was telling me, like, oh, Bills have a great offensive line. This is the best offensive line they've had since Josh Allen was there. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I don't even like their other options. Like, Dawson Knox is okay. Stephon Diggs is legit. I've been complaining about Isaiah McKenzie and Gabe Davis all year. The Bills have been running it decent the last 6 weeks, which is an improvement of not running it at all. I just think people underrate Josh Allen. And I actually think the Chiefs can choke again. So I would not be surprised if the Bengals come through that AFC. Like, I would not be surprised. Although the Bengals got, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the Bengals got really screwed by everything that transpired. And maybe it's wishful thinking because I'm pretty sure we all had the Bengals to beat the Bills in that game. It's really tough to predict who's going to win an NFL game just by the first quarter because we know most of these games completely churn the table in the late third, early fourth, anyways. But my goodness, man. My goodness. I felt like the Bengals would have slammed the Bills that game. Um, and I'm going to take the quick question about Carr. I want to see Carr go to the Jets. I think the Jets could do it. I think the Jets need to do it. It's a little bit risky. A lot of people are saying the Colts. I would not want to go there. I was impressed with what I saw in Salah this year. I was a longtime Salah hater, but I was actually impressed. But there's not much he can do with a bad offense. Yeah, here we go. It's probably going to be the Bengals in the AFC, as crazy as it sounds. And I don't know if you guys were looking. I don't know if you guys were looking at some of the future bets, like to get to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, to win the AFC. But the Chiefs don't really have that good of odds. The Bills don't really have that good of odds. The Eagles have their odds are really low to win the NFC, for instance. Just feel like the two bets to be had are Bengals and 49ers. It would be absolutely insane though if Brock Purdy gets a ring. It would be absolutely insane. Okay, Lino Frosto. What's up, Lino? Yo, what's good, my guy? How's it going? Hope all is well. I hear Brazil has some crazy shit going on. Yes, it does. Anyways, do you think Lamar would go out there if he had got his contract squared away earlier this season? Also, how likely is it the Dolphins and Seahawks get butt bashed this week? Stay safe and smash the like button. Thank you, Lino. Soccer bet starting this week on Patreon. Just wanted to remind everyone we're going to be betting English Premier League and the Brazilian League. There's two I'm targeting this week for the English League. To answer your question, my friend, yeah, I do think Lamar's milking it. I don't know if any of you guys saw what Sammy Watkins said today. He pretty much summed up everything I was thinking. I think Lamar isn't interested in playing because the contract issue. Now, it's a PCL tear, grade 2. We've seen this injury a lot. Like Tom Brady had it last year. Now, Brady played through it, but he has a complete different game. But I remember when the injury happened, and I remember hearing it was grade 2. So Ian Rappaport went on the Pat McAfee show, and he said, listen, this is normally a 3 or 4 week recovery period. We're on week 5, man. And I think Lamar is milking it. And he's one of my favorite players in the league. And I really wanted to smash the Ravens to cover this week, but we can't. We can't. We don't even know if Huntley's going to play. I mean, it just sucks. We wait all year for the playoffs and we get to watch Skylar Thomas and we get to watch Anthony fucking Brown. We can't even watch Huntley. It's just, that's where we're at. And I think you're right with how your question is layered. I think it's about the contract. Can't say I blame him too much, but also, how likely is it that the Dolphins and Seahawks get smashed this week? I think it's really likely. Like, I saw people in the live chat were saying like 40-3 Bills, like 50-10 Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to go absolutely nuclear on them. I do think it's possible the 49ers go nuclear on the Seahawks because they can't stop the run. And that's going to be a big issue when you play the 49ers. Now with the 49ers, like they could just win like 27-3. I want it back. I would say it's more likely the Bills cover than the 49ers cover, even with that being said, man. And thank you for the question. Ace Magic Entertainment. Hey, John, if you were to pick one over bet for a teaser, over bet, okay. If you were to pick one over bet for a teaser, do you think the Vikings versus Giants is the best option? Yeah, I do. But let me look at, because we got a little movement today on some of them. Okay, let me look at it. So we're at, it opened at like 47 and a half. It's only up to 48 and a half. I think if you move it down and go over, I think you'll be good. I think both teams get to the 20s. So you shouldn't have to worry. What's another one I was looking at? If you wanted another leg, I could be in the minority on this, but I would push this Cowboys Bucks game up and then go under. I do think both of those offenses will struggle. And then one over I like this whole week, and I wanted to get everyone's opinion about it because obviously the Mike Williams injury news was a bit of a fucking punch in the gut today. But I absolutely love this over in the Chargers-Jags game. I remember Johnny came on here. We were talking Cowboys and Jags, and he said the over of the year to bet was Cowboys against Jags. This does remind me of this game a little bit. It really does. I think the Chargers Jags over 47 and a half is one I would love to target. So yeah, man, it looks good. Luke, what's up? What's up, Lauren? What's up, the nation? What's up, Mr. Jackson? Lawson, what's your read on the Cincy game? I want to take that -6 when it opened, but even at -9, I don't see how the Ravens score points. You're right. You're right. Luke, I didn't want to spoil it, but I'll probably be betting Bengals -9, even though it's an absolute terror show to do it. I'll give you my rationale. My rationale is the same as yours. Now, I believe I made it a money pick when it was low this week on Tuesday, correct? Unfortunately, I didn't put it in. I put in a few others. I normally put every single money pick I put in early. I don't go hard like I do on Patreon, but every single money pick I put in normally the day I do the video. I don't know why I slacked on that. Maybe I got scared Lamar Jackson was playing. But let me go to this game for a second because we had another question on Patreon about it. Man, I think the Ravens the last 2 years have played the best defensive football against Joe Burrow. Someone can come in and absolutely destroy me about this, but from what I've seen, the Ravens seem to have the best plan against him. And pretty much the plan is as follows. They just put 2 deep safeties and they play man-to-man and they make the Bengals throw underneath. And they hope they can stop the run with 7 in the box. And I think that's what you need to do against the Bengals because if they get big plays against you, they're absolutely going to tear you up. But this Bengals team has gotten a little bit more patient as this year has developed. Like we saw the Cowboys beat them that way. Of course, the Cowboys have a sick defensive line that the Ravens don't possess. But we've seen the Bengals get a little bit more sophisticated and start running the ball more. And that's why I really like the Bengals going into the playoffs. And like you said, I agree with what you said, Luke. I just don't see how Anthony Brown's going to put up more than 13 points. I just don't see it. And I'm blanking on the Bengals defensive coordinator's name, but why hasn't he gotten any interviews for a head coach job? Why isn't anyone talking about him? Because the talent on the Bengals, especially their secondary on defense, isn't good, man. It isn't. It wasn't all that good last year either. And this Bengals defense just keeps getting result after result, stop after stop. The dude fucking stopped fucking Mahomes the whole second half, and while the whole world's watching, and he doesn't even get considered for a job interview. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the good media, like, because I remember like every single name. I do not remember his name. I don't know. Is Dime? Is it about? Is it about the Bengals O line? Because after week 6 or week 7, they've been good. I know Kappa's a little bit banged up. I'm pretty sure he's going to play though. I know Lyle Collins is out of the game, correct? But even with that being said, the Bengals O-line's improved as the year went on. And who's the dominant defensive line player on the Ravens? And we were pretty much talking about earlier in the show, Lamar Jackson kind of just quit on his fucking team. And listen, we won money betting the Ravens this last 6-7 weeks without Lamar Jackson, but I think the show's over, man. I think it's going to be hard for the Ravens to cover. Maybe they get something late, maybe a backdoor cover. 9 is an awful lot in this damn league. We understand that. Ravens defense has been playing great since they got Roquan Smith. Ravens defense might have the best safety core in the league at this point. Like, I understand all those things, but they're not playing the Steelers. They're playing Joe Burrow. That's where I'm at. Warren Flowers, it's going to be a great, Warren Flowers says it's going to be a great Super Wildcard weekend. I can feel it in everything. Let's get this money, money, money. I'm really liking your over-under picks for this weekend, J-Law. Yeah, Warren, I wasn't trying to blow smoke or be a self-promoter. I really wasn't. But like I said on Instagram, I think this was the most critical over-under video I did the whole damn year. And I didn't say that just to get a few more clicks on the algorithm. Like, I was dead ass serious. This is a great week for over-unders. And let's dip into it, because some of these games for me, like, it's unbettable. Like, Bills Miami's unbettable. The 49ers Seahawks, come on, man. It's not really appetizing to lay 9 points with 9.5, 10 points with Purdy. The Bengals Ravens is a little bit more appetizing. That's why I really felt like the over-unders were good. And I don't know, I just felt a good read on them this week. Over-unders can be fickle. We know that. Yeah, listen, Dime, if Lamar was in there, I was thinking about picking the Ravens money line. Like, seriously, that's how good this defense has been this past 5 or 6 weeks. People are underestimating how good they got on defense and how quick they got. People keep remembering Miami absolutely slapping the hell out of them week 1, week 2 or 3, whatever it was. Like, this is a completely different defense. If Lamar's in there, like, I think they could give any team in the AFC a run for their money, just with the way they've developed on defense this year. Unfortunately, we're not getting any of that. Yeah, Mike, if Lamar was in there, this is the best game of the weekend by far. By far. For me, man. I think it might be the best game of the playoffs, with that being said. And just to, okay, let me, Bobby says, Lawson, I'm worried about Jalen Hurts. Doesn't seem like he was running much last week. I'm worried about Jalen Hurts as well. There's a lot I'm worried about with the Eagles. That's why if you want a future bet out of the NFC, I think you got to go 49ers at this point. First of all, the odds for the Eagles aren't all that great. The payouts are not all that great. I know their offensive line is damn good. I know they can run the rock. I know they're actually pretty healthy going into the playoffs, which is always a plus. But, man, let me tell you something, Bobby. I haven't liked the play calling on the Eagles offense the last 8 weeks of this year. And I remember against the Colts, they were in a 2-minute drill to win the game. We had a teaser. We needed like the Eagles to win in a pick 'em. We got it, luckily. But in a 2-minute drill, they were running quarterback draws and quarterback powers with Hurts. When you got Smith, when you got a good damn tight end in Goddard, and when you got fucking AJ Brown, and they're running quarterback powers in a 2-minute drill. That's when I became concerned about the Eagles. And I just felt like they haven't found their A game in a long time. When was the last time we seen them play good? And like someone else was saying in the chat, because I want to hear your opinions, like someone else was saying in the chat, Eagles had a really easy schedule if you take like a long view of it. I mean, during the season, I didn't notice it all that much. But once the guy said it and I started remembering the games, yeah, man. I think there's a point to be made there, man. Yeah, Sirianni could get exposed. Corey, that's why I asked you guys, man, because it's hard for me not to give it to Dable or Shanahan. It's hard for me to give him that, but yeah, man, I'd probably go Dayball, man. But if someone said Peterson, I wouldn't argue. Mike, thanks for the super chat. Are you taking guests today? Laura and I can go. Yes, I am. I have more energy today. I'll get you guys on once I finish these Patreon questions. Yeah, man, because with the wild card, there's so much to talk about this week. There's an absolute ton. Okay, question from Dan. Hey, man, I know you dislike parlays, but which one of these do you not trust? Because I believe a 6-point teaser of Seattle plus 16, Jags plus 7.5, keep Jags plus 7.5. I think you pass a key number there. I like that. Miami plus 19.5, Giants plus 9, Baltimore plus 15.5, Tampa Bay plus 8.5. Are all locks to cover. I got them all on a parlay for plus 1,600. I'm all ears on anyone else's opinion too. Let's make this money. Yeah, I would rather tease San Fran down than tease Seattle up. You should be good with Miami 19.5, but you're pushing it there. You're pushing it. The rest of them I like. I think the Bengals beat the Ravens by 10 points, 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Bengals are going to annihilate them by any means. That Ravens defense has a lot of pride. So, yeah. Daniel says, am I wrong in believing that division rivals who play each other throughout the year will keep games close? Because I'm loving Baltimore, Miami, and Seattle to cover. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all, Dan. My dad always had a rule with betting. You never want to bet a team to beat another team 3 times in a season. You never want to do that. It normally doesn't end well. I'm not a trend better. I hate fucking trends. I think it's more of a trap for people. But that's one trend I actually subscribe to, because your question has merit. It's just in this league, we're not looking at the real Baltimore. We're not looking at the Miami that beat Baltimore on the road. We're not looking at the Miami that covered against the Bills in the snow. We are looking at the Seattle. Like, I think that has relevance there. I believe on Tuesday I had Seattle to cover. It's not something I would bet. With Miami, man, it's tough because their defense, I know Bradley Chubb's banged up, and their secondary's been a disappointment all year, but I don't think I don't know, man. Like picking Miami against Buffalo, that's a tough spot to be in. Dicko, hey John, all the best for Wildcard weekend. Tampa Bay, Dallas, watch only. Of the rest, which is your favorite spread pick? My favorite? I'll type it to you. Typed it to you, my man. Mike 87, what's up, Mike? And what's up, Dicko? I think you're right for the watch only for the Bucks Cowboys, but I might want to pull that trigger, man. I might want to. Mike 87 seems like Buffalo, San Francisco, Cincinnati money line or teaser is a very popular bet this weekend. Where do you see this going wrong? With the terrible weather forecasted for San Fran tomorrow, would you rather tease the Hawks up to 16 instead, or maybe tease the total up to 50 and go under? Well, let me think. So Buffalo, so the teaser or the parlay is Buffalo, San Fran, Cincy money line. I think that parlays money. But there are people telling me last week that, put the Packers in a parlay and that was money. A lot of people were telling me that. So I think I would tease Seattle up to 16 if I had to touch that. But I would rather tease San Fran down. Like, I don't know if the weather is going to affect San Fran. Like, how bad is this weather? Because I did the full weather thing. I went full autism and looked at all the weather reports Tuesday and Wednesday, and there didn't seem to be anything affecting it. I didn't see anything too crazy. Like, are we getting like a flood or are we getting a fucking hurricane? California can't have hurricanes, right? Like, what are we getting? And I don't even, and you could tease the total up to 50 and go under. It's just, that's one of the games I wouldn't touch for over under anyways. Like, I think there's a lot on the plate for us to eat, not that one. Timothy Williams. What's up, Tim? Hey, Lawson, how much do you consider TV ratings for individual teams when selecting a team to bet on in the playoffs? We all know the NFL cares about ratings. Wow. Tim, it's a good question, bro. And that just shows how ridiculous this year's been. I mean, that comment kind of would be a thesis statement for when I look back on this year and remember some of the dumb shit I've seen this year on NFL fields. That this comment kind of sums it up for me. I do think it's a factor, but I think it's only a factor with Brady. Now, the highest rated NFL game this year was a game that involved the Cowboys. And that's normally the case every year. But we also know the games with the highest ratings after that normally involve Tom Brady. And so I don't see us getting too much fuckery. But I will say something. For those of us who are maybe hoping for a Seattle upset, who are hoping for, no one's hoping for a Dolphins upset. I will tell you one thing though, bro. I don't think anyone wants to watch Skylar Thompson in the next round of the playoffs. Like, I don't think anyone wants to watch Anthony Brown on the next round of the playoffs. Take that for what you will. But if there's a chance to keep Brady in this thing, I don't put anything past the National Football League. I don't put anything. The Nation with the super chat. My bad, bro. I didn't see it. I was looking at the Patreon comments. My bad, bro. Thank you for the donation. Lawson, love the channel. Your science is on point. Eagles are one and done. Bengals to the Super Bowl. Last Raiders Super Bowl 2024, baby. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with it. I do see a lot of people putting in future bets for Eagles on FC, which is terrible odds, but people are going to do what people do. And I'm the biggest Hurts fan there is. Like, I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but I've always been kind of like a Hurts and Trevor Lawrence mark. I've always seen something in them, even when it looked grim. But even I'm starting to have my doubts about what's going on with the Eagles. I'm even having my doubts about Hurts' health, even though he got time to rest. Yeah, man, I can't say I disagree. And thank you for the love and support, my God. I appreciate it. Next question, Johnny. What player prop do you like best this week? I'll type you one. I'll type you one when I put the bets up tonight, because I will have a few player props. Last week, the Jefferson one just fucking didn't hit. Just really made me mad. Jefferson over receiving yards against the Chicago Bears should have been able to hit, you would think, right? You would think. And the Vikings threw the ball like 38 times that game. But with that being said, one I do like is Keenan Allen over 72.5 receiving yards. That's one I like. Sean Bullard says Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdowns. But what are those odds, Sean? Is that like minus 180, minus 160? Are you getting that close to like minus 120? If you're getting that close to minus 120, put fucking a G on that. I love that. If it depends how the odds are. But for me, Keenan Allen over 72, Keenan Allen over 72.5 receiving yards. I think I got it. I think I saw it at minus 115. Makes sense to me. Okay, next. And Johnny, I will have some player props for your consideration. Oh, Gabriel Hammer. What's up, Gabe? Lawson, need a 4-league SGP. What does SGP mean? Same game parlay. Okay, good. I figured it out. I'm leaning Cincy spread. Okay, I can vibe with it. Mixon, Chase, touchdown each. Chase over 74.5. I like that. Joey B over 225. Remove that Chase touchdown. Remove that Chase touchdown because you wanted to remove one. Remove that Chase touchdown. Now, the Ravens, like I said, their secondary's been really good, man. But Joey B should go over 225. I don't think that's a bad way to put your life on. Chase over 74.5. I like it. But they got to get him underneath balls, which they've been doing better this year. Last year, it just felt like deep pass after deep pass to him, but they've got more diversity in the passing game. I like that. I like the Cincy spread. I like that as well. I think that might actually hit. Daniel. Okay, this is a good question. I like this question, Dan. What does everyone think the biggest shocker this weekend would be? I think a 49ers loss. I'll let the chat answer, man. Let me think. Let me look at the spreads. What would be the biggest shock? You want to know a big shock for everyone? Vikings win comfortably. That would be a good shock for me. Listen, I do think if there's going to be some crazy shit to happen, I don't think there's going to be crazy shit to happen in the Miami game. I don't think the Ravens pull any crazy shit in their game. I don't think people would be shocked by the Giants beating the Vikings. I don't think people would be shocked if the Vikings blew out the Giants. So I don't think anyone would be shocked if the Bucks beat the Cowboys. I would be a little bit shocked if the Cowboys blew out the Bucks. I would be. I don't think I should be because we all know they're bad. So I would go, I think you're right. I think if there's going to be a big shock, it would be Seattle. But can Seattle stop the run? I mean, Seattle gave up 40 points to Detroit this year. Yeah, man. Everyone's been telling me the Vikings are done, and then people got roped in. Like so many people got roped in. Okay, Vikings didn't show up against the Packers, and then so many people got roped in betting the Packers against the Lions. And I tried to tell people not to, that the Lions are a better football team than the Packers. And for me, man, I think the Lions are better than the Giants. I think the Lions are better than the Seahawks. And I do think the Lions are on par with my Minnesota Vikings. I just don't know how the Lions laid that egg against the Panthers. I don't know what happened there. Well, Chris, what happened when they played, Chris? What happened when the Lions went into the Meadowlands? And I was on an island, 80% of the public money was on the Giants. What happened there? Giants got their booty spanked by Dan Campbell. Like, you could tell me the Giants are better coached than the Lions. I would not argue. I would not argue at all. Because Daboll is an absolute magician. And he's a damn national treasure. But give me DJ Chark. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown. Give me Khalif Raymond. Give me a better offensive line than the Giants. Give me a young Aiden Hutchinson with Okamura and then Kaminsky in the rotation of the pass rush. Our Giants defense is a little bit better, but is it all that good? I mean, Giants are finally getting Adoree Jackson back, but look at that secondary. Look at the state of that secondary. Everyone likes picking on Detroit secondary, but they actually got better as the year went on. I'm from New York, too. I've been hearing about the Giants my whole life. They've been garbage since I was a little kid. I love Kayvon Thibodeau. Thibodeau's good, man. But Aiden Hutchinson obviously had the better season, and I'm not a Hutchinson guy. I took egg on the face for that. Like, I didn't think Hutchinson. I thought Thibodeau would be better than Hutchinson. I thought Trayvon Walker would be better than Thibodeau. I was wrong on that. Obviously. It's just like there's only so much man-to-man blitzes you can send in like real life NFL. I know, Michael Mann, you just absolutely wax my ass in Madden, sending a blitz, play a man-to-man on me every time. But I just think the Giants are like at their limit. Yeah, but Chris, like, does making the playoffs mean anything anymore? Is this like 1980s NFL or is it like 2023? Okay, Giants made the playoffs. Like, does that somehow make them better than Detroit? I would take Detroit. If the Giants went to Detroit, I think it'd be Detroit -4, -5 at this point. I mean, Detroit was just at the beginning of their upswing. It was Lions +3. Vegas didn't even give us the Lions +3.5 that I thought we would get. Yeah, man. I like. Listen, if you got Daboll, you're going to be good. Just that Giants team doesn't have as much talent as people think, and we need to give the credit to Daboll. I mean, that's where I'm at, but it's a good argument to be had. And when Richie James is your best wide receiver, we got to give like Brian Daboll a damn like fucking chain or trophy to be able to. I mean, the Giants move the ball consistently. We got to give them credit. I mean, it's amazing. Okay. Paulie, forget about it. What's up, Paulie? Hey, John, do you think the weather will be a factor in the San Fran game? If so, do you think the under is a good bet? Hope you are well, and thanks for all your input this year. It has been a big help. Paulie, anytime, my guy. Appreciate it. Okay, let's actually look up the weather for this game. And I'm going to get Lauren and Michael Mann on if they're still available. Let's look up the weather for the San Francisco game. Cisco, Seattle. So I got to see the weather for myself because I got to tell you, I heard it was going to rain, but everyone is football, but everyone is kind of more concerned about it than I was. So let's see what it is. Now, I'm more concerned about wind than rain. So that's my bias. Okay. Winds are expected to be between 10 and 15 miles per hour with some gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Okay. I would say the wind works more against the Hawks than the Niners because a lot of Purdy stuff is underneath. And when the Seahawks are at their best on offense, Geno is getting chunk plays every once in a while. So how much rain are we going to get? Um, okay. Kickoff is 1:30 p.m. West Coast time. And rain is expected to start falling around 10 a.m. in Santa Clara. And chat, correct me if I'm wrong, the 49ers have a legit grass surface, correct? It's not field turf, it's a legit grass surface. Either way, I don't know if it being rainy changes the run game. And there could be a few turnovers, but I just don't think it's that big a factor. And would I go under? Probably. I just don't know if I want to bet the under in that game. I just think there's a lot of over unders like I liked more. Because I'll be honest, before the weather, when I saw this game on Monday morning preparing for the Tuesday show, I really liked the over because every time I see it, man, every time I see this 49ers team, they're getting fucking 30 points. And I do think people are underestimating how bad the Seahawks defense is. But I mean, if we're playing in fucking puddles, then your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine, man. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we got another Patreon question. Hey, make sure everyone hits the like button, smash the like button. And thank you, everyone watching tonight. Really appreciate it. Let's get the money. Thank you, Bud Skinner, for joining on Patreon. Thank you, Christian J. Marin. I appreciate it. Okay. Oh, Johnny Gonzalez wants to come on. Yo. Okay, let's see. Okay, guys, I'm going to take just a 5-minute break. I'll be right back. Slam that like button. I appreciate it. Oh, one last question from Canyon Wise. 4-team, 13-point teaser on Patreon. Okay, let me bring back up the spreads because I pretty much know what I want to do, but I want to look at them. Okay, let's go. Give me the Bengals on that list. Give me the Bills on that list. Give me the 49ers on that list. And I need one more game, Chargers. Even if the Chargers lose, which I don't think they will, that's one score game. One score game. I'll be right back. Are any of you guys involved in Bitcoin still? I remember this time last year we predicted Bitcoin was over. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was we predicted it. I wish we could have had the money to short it. What's up, Dan? How you doing, Dan? How you doing, Dan? I hope everything's good with you. How your Eagles are in the playoffs. You feeling good about your Eagles, man? Yeah, Jack. I actually did. I saw Rance had a comment. I saw Rance had a comment. He was saying, "I can't wait to bet baseball." For me, man, I think you honestly would smoke more nicotine than me betting baseball. I don't know how people do it. I know JSAP does it. He does it at a pretty good level. He's been on here before. He does it at a pretty good level, but it's like a fucking full-time job. Um, yeah, I'm open-minded to it, but baseball's crazy to bet. Soccer bets will be up on Patreon. I got 2 this week. We're going to do the Brazilian League and we're going to do the English Premier League. I've been following the English Premier League the last 2 months hardcore, preparing for the off season. So we'll have something to bet. Last year was pretty lucrative with the soccer bets. Could have been better. Obviously, could have been a lot worse. I think adding in a European league will be good for us. Also, Lawson, follow the YouTube soccer page if anyone's interested. If anyone's interested in that? Yeah, baseball's hard, man. JSAP was betting like he would do like six, the first 6 innings. That way he could just bet on. That way he could just bet on the starting pitchers. Vivian, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the donation. Thank you for the $50. Hope you win a lot of bets this weekend. Yeah, it's 5.5. The first 5. My bad, JSAP. My bad. My bad. What's up, JSAP? Yeah, man, was talking about you just now. Was talking about you just now. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Since you're in the chat. And thank you for the season of football as always, John. Yeah, thank you, Vivian. I appreciate it, man. Really helps. And like JSUP. So can I ask you an honest question? Do you swap more? Now let's not use this year for NFL. This year in NFL has been an absolute sweater. More than any other year I've bet NFL. But JSUP, let me ask you this. Your World Series bets you came on and told us about were right, by the way. Do you sweat more betting NFL or betting baseball? I think I asked you this before, but I don't remember what you said. Because I know you got like some days you got like 4 or 5 baseball games at once, and there's only so much 2 eyes can see. Okay, let me. Because I'm waiting for this answer. Because honestly, I have enough time to do the bet in baseball. I have enough time to do it right. And I've actually started liking baseball again. I like a lot of these new players. Feel like it's the first good generation of players since like fucking Piazza and Barry Bonds. I used to love Barry Bonds, man. I think I was in the minority on that, though. I think I was in the big minority on that, but love me some Barry Bonds. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Michael, man, I sent your invite. Yeah, I think baseball's getting better. Like, I honestly think it's getting better because I've always watched it. I've always watched the Mets. minimally, man. Like I'll bet a soccer game. I'll watch it on my laptop and watch the baseball with my dad because I feel like you need to watch it like that. Although they're making things better, I like the pitch clock. I don't like the new shift rule, but it is what it is. I do think they should limit the pitchers. Like you shouldn't have to get a fucking staff of 13 dudes. That's one reason why we see a lot of strikeouts. Like you put in dude A to come in and throw 98 gas, put in dude B who's lefty comes in and throws 100 gas. Like, it's just. Yeah, dude. I was talking to JSEP about maybe doing a betting channel on baseball. But I need to do it with someone. Because like I said, I only have 2 eyes and I actually try to watch the shit I bet on. I know some people don't watch the shit they bet on. Or they don't even bet, which is wild. Okay, so what did J-Sub say? Yeah, fumbles. Like the Lions, the sweatiest moment I had a fucking breakdown in my room, was we had the Lions plus like 6.5 against the Cowboys. We already hit the Lions for 3-0 up until that point. Lions were down 13-6. They're at the 1 yard line. First or second down. Literally like 2 inches away, not even a full yard. Lions fumble a handoff, and I just fucking went crazy in my room. I just started, like I got so mad. If you guys think you saw me mad on here, you don't know. Like, yeah, it's just, there's nothing worse than that. There's nothing worse than that. Yeah, isn't it like, shouldn't you like sports if you're gonna bet? Like I don't get the people not watching the sport they bet. Jarrett Hart says umpires have less control over the game unless you have Angel Hernandez umpiring. Unlike the NFL, they can call holding on literally every play, but can choose ones that can kill drives at any time. Yes. And Jarrett, as a Tom Brady Bucs supporter, you should know that. You should know that. I'm joking, my man, but yeah, it's you are right, and there's so many subjective calls in the NFL that can lead to sweaty movements, anger attacks. Some of the subjective holding calls give me a heart attack. Even on games like we won this year, like when we had the Bengals to cover against the Patriots, like fuck, bro. Like I had to just stay at the beach and turn off my phone Monday morning. Like it was actually a good week of betting, but that Bengals game killed me against the Patriots. We just barely covered it, and everything that transpired in that game felt like my heart was going to shut off. Yeah. J.R. Flocka, always a fucking hole. Yeah, it's Dan. I just think we've seen. Dan, I'll tell you one thing though. Okay, I've seen some bad like calls in baseball in my day, but I don't think we've seen baseball umpires take points off the board. I don't think we've seen that. Hell, in the Vikings Colts game, we saw 14 legitimate points taken off the board, for instance, which is a huge difference. Peter Reyes, hello, Mr. Lawson. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well too, Pete. Just asking, you were on Jags all year long. I think Jacksonville is the hotter team at home, and the Jags D has a good pass rush. I like the Jags. Pete. Yeah, we love the Jags all year long. And I like the Jags long term, but I can't say I like how the Jags finished the year. And outside of the Chargers game against the Titans, I don't feel like the Chargers have had a bad performance. I I would say both teams are equally hot going into it. And I feel like the Chargers are the more consistent team. And I agree with you about the Jags defensive line, but it hasn't been consistent this year. It hasn't been consistent. I mean, that's one thing that's worrisome for me. Yeah, so I'm gonna get Michael Mann on.
Hey, what's up,
Michael,
man?
oh man, new Panthers gear, man.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got it for Christmas. Got
dude,
it for Christmas, stepping it up.
I like it, man. I like
Thank you,
it.
yeah. And my hair looks like crap right now, so I'm wearing the hat for that reason.
Is that one of the snapbacks?
What?
Is that one of the snapbacks? You know the snapbacks, like you can.
Oh,
me.
no, it's not. It's not.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, but I'll get right into it with this Titans or this Jags Chargers game, and I'll be honest, I'm all on the Jags this week. Like I think this is the game of the week in terms of like entertainment value, and I really feel confident that the Jags are going to win it. First starters, I really you look at the injury situation for LA, and it's very concerning to me. I mean, everyone's talking about the Mike Williams injury, which, by the way, the Chargers have not played good when he's not on the field. They've been very bad without Mike Williams. But Rashawn Slater being out, I feel like is a huge blow. You know, I feel like they're not going to be able to get the run game going, and who's going to block Josh Allen when they're passing? It really feels like the only way that the Chargers can win this game against a very good Jags defense, by the way, over the last 2 weeks, is if Herbert – they had like a 3-week stretch where they only let up one touchdown.
But you get to play Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, but it's still an NFL quarterback. You go 3 weeks and giving up one touchdown. I'll take that. You got to admit that's.
But their defense for me was disappointing this year.
Yes, but
go on.
Sorry, I just feel like they've stepped it up lately coming into this game. I feel like that's something we can bank on, and it really feels like the Chargers are just kind of limping in here. And I don't like that for them. Now, if Trevor plays like crap, this bet goes to shit. But, I mean, from what I'm seeing right now, if we can just get like 23 points out of the Jags, I feel like they can do this.
And it's tough, though. Jags, they've been in the teens a lot this year. Like, I just want to see the Chargers schedule because I've actually been impressed with them the last 6 weeks to finish the season. Okay, they beat the Rams, they beat the Colts. That's nothing to talk about. They had a good game against the Dolphins, beat the Titans by 3 points. That was a sweater. So, yeah, like they're playing the same level of opposition pretty much. Like nothing too impressive. And I do think Herbert plays better than Lawrence, though, as much as it hurts me to say it.
I agree with that, but I feel like Herbert's going to have to do a lot more than Trevor will. Like, I feel like Trevor is actually going to have an essence of a run game and is actually going to have some separation. I think Peterson's going to be over there scheming up Christian Kirk down the middle, Evan Ingram on the sideline. You know, I don't know if Herbert's going to get that. The coaching factor is also a big thing for me.
The coaching factor is Brandon Staley's a fucking idiot. I told you that last off season, and he calmed down a little bit this year, but like how he got Mike Williams injured, it is really bad.
Can we just talk about that for a second? Why did the Chargers go all out to try to kill Denver last week? Like when they had nothing to play for? Like
and he used the excuse we only get 46 guys. Dude, you know, how's that an excuse?
Especially when your team is like very injury prone as it is. Like, okay, I get why the Bucs did it. The Bucs are playing like crap. They needed to like have a game to get their stuff together. The Chargers had no excuse to do what they did. And instead they tried to go blow for blow with Denver for 2.5 quarters, and it killed them. And it could come back to bite them again this week.
Johnny, I sent you an email. Yeah, man, it's with me, man. I just feel like the Chargers win the game, one score game, going to be close. I don't know. This Jags secondary, they bothered me the whole year. I think they're one of the most confounding units I've seen. I don't get it. I don't know why the pass rush hasn't been more effective this year. That's one thing I was trying to figure out the whole year, especially earlier in the year. It really bothered me at the point.
Yeah, you're right. And even against the Titans, they didn't look too good. So I can give you that. But I mean, I feel without Mike Williams, that will really help keep the Chargers offense in check. and you combine that with Josh Allen coming at you against a backup right tackle, I feel like they got a shot on defense.
Think the Giants are knocking off my Vikings?
No, I don't. I know I was coming at you for it earlier, but if we're picking someone, like if we're picking the bet, I think the Giants would cover that spread. That's where I'm at with it, which is kind of a coward's way out. But I mean, listen, these two teams fought. Yeah. You know how the Vikings are. They will play every game down to the wire. And both these two teams are really well coached offensively. So that, you know what that means. That's always a close game in the fourth quarter. I agree with you on the over on this. I really like the over here. But yeah, the way
That's
I see
over the week, and no one was talking about it.
Yeah, for
Everyone
sure.
wants to try to crack this 49ers Seahawks over, and I felt like they're sleeping on the best over. Both teams put up. When have both teams not been under 20s? Vikings have been blown out, not shown up. But if they play a game, they're in the 20s. Same with the Giants.
No, definitely. And I'm sorry, but the Vikings defense is nothing special. Like they definitely leave guys open way too often.
What's up, Lauren?
Hey, Lauren.
Let me just respond to that. Like, listen, I understand the Vikings defense is bad, but at a certain point, you have to give them credit because they forced turnovers and they got really good. They got an elite player on every single level. Like they got Daniel Hunter, they got Kendricks, and then they got Harrison Smith. But the rest is trash. I agree.
Yeah. And to your point, like they also do a really good job in the red zone. But from 20 to 20, they just give up a crap ton of yards and seem like they can never get off the field.
Yeah, if the game was played 20 to 20, Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson would have a Super Bowl ring right now. It's the best team ever, 20 to 20.
Yeah.
What's up, Lauren?
What do you got, Lauren?
Hey, Wildcard weekend. What's up?
Yeah, you got your Bengals future bet in?
Yeah.
Damn right. You all know I had that shit.
That's exactly what I was thinking, man.
Well,
My AFC.
Oh, go on.
You get a bye
week this week. Odds. It's got the best odds. Like, I'm not liking the Chiefs odds that much. I'm not liking the Bills odds. I think the Eagles odds are like really, really lopsided. Like, I feel like the Bengals are the best.
So you buy low, sell high. I put the Bengals bet in week 4.
Wow.
It's probably pretty low.
It was low because they started out 0-2, remember?
Yeah, they had a really crappy start.
When everybody was down on them, and I was like, nope, they'll get better as the year goes on. They get, they're like a fine wine. They get every week. I don't think they've lost a game since October.
Can't recall.
They lost that game to Cleveland, and like
it was October. It was like before Halloween, like well before.
No, yeah, I remember that game. The Panthers were the victim of it. They lost that game to Cleveland, and then they came into Cincinnati and blew us out like 42-10 or something. Like it was terrible.
Oh, yeah, Cincy. I've been riding the Cincy train. I've been riding the Cincy train for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
really.
You pretty much have a bye week this week because they're playing Anthony Brown.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So there's no Huntley. I think Marcus Peters is back, which might slow the game down a little bit, but I don't see where Baltimore scores is the problem here. I don't see how they put points on the board. Like I don't know where they're going to come from.
Dude,
Maybe the run game. I don't know. The running back's playing. Sorry, phone call. I had to ignore it. I don't know. The running back that's played like twice all year. J.K. Dobbins, right? I think he's going to be back, so that's more ground game. You might see some heavy Dobbins, but if they get down a lot, you're going to running's not going to cut it. So.
No, yeah, I think if you're Baltimore, what do you do? I think you just kind of hope that your defense can carry you into the fourth quarter with the score intact, and then you're just kind of praying that you get lucky. Like, that's the best you can do in this game.
And really, Baltimore hasn't scored more than 17 points in the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do up against a high-octane Cincinnati Bengals offense that scores I don't even know. They don't even punt very often. They pretty much score, and then that's it. They score like every time.
Yeah.
So
And let's not forget, like, the Ravens also literally just lost to them by 14 points last week. Like, and I think if you're on the Ravens, you're saying to yourself, "Oh, we're gonna get Lamar back, and then we're gonna go in this game guns a blazing." And now, like, the one thing that was saving you is out, and you're not gonna have that asset. And
this whole thing with Lamar is just weird, man.
I think he's gonna walk it.
But
you know what? You know what? There is a nice place for him at the Saints in the Saints locker room right now, because by all means, please come to New Orleans. Like, we'll take anybody at this point.
Where are you getting that cap space?
Yeah,
I know.
Like,
that negative 10 million cap.
I don't know. Hey, I mean, at this point, we're not paying a quarterback, so I mean, it's got to make room somewhere. We're not. I mean, pretty
That's
sure
true.
we don't have. We're not paying a quarterback. There's going to be room somewhere this year, and I mean, the Bears don't need that first pick. They're going to trade it to somebody. God, please. Either give us Lamar or give us a draft pick, anything. Which is so unlikely, but whatever. Yeah, I'm definitely on Cincy. I got it at 6.5 on Wednesday. So now it's like 9, 10, I don't know, something like that. Something crazy, right? So definitely on it. I think Miami's dying a slow and painful death, and it's probably going to get worse this week. So, I mean, I think we're seeing Skylar Thompson, so that's right there enough to, I mean,
in Buffalo in January.
Under 40 degrees where they are 0-8. So, I mean, and they're putting Teron Armstead out there as a handicapped man right now. Like, he might have a cast on. I don't really know. But, they're putting him out there to try to help, which God bless him. I mean, he's a saint, when we're saying love the man, he's great. But, the man's injured and he's going to go out there and play. If Skylar Thompson can pull some miracle, I'll be the first one to eat my words. But I don't see it.
Listen, I'm always, Lawson's kind of like this too, but I think we all like to chase a good upset and like try to find any possible path for an underdog to pull it out. I see no path to victory here for Miami. Like, what do you do?
It's kind of important to talk about. It's because they're done, and it's like not even like the Miami Dolphins team. Like, it would be so interesting if Tua played, but
yeah, that's where I think Lamar should go.
Hi, Tasha. I just got to give her a shot.
It's going to be tough to get him there because, like, they're going to franchise tag him. So, Miami, I don't know their trade capital, but they should just trade him, man.
Well, talk about a team that's gone to shit, Dallas. I mean, let's be honest. That amazing defense that I drafted, was great. It's like they literally became a toddler and turned into the terrible twos. The hell happened? So I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not on Dallas this week.
It's tough to bet on. It's
yeah.
tough to be able to bet on, but I can't.
Dak is not playing well. And, I mean, he's got more interceptions, I think, than anybody playing this weekend.
Probably.
And he's turning the ball over way too much. I know CD Lamb, all pro, whatever. He doesn't seem like a number one to me that's like shining out. You know what I mean? Like, he's no Justin Jefferson. Like, they don't. It's just they're doing good things with their run game with Zeke and Pollard, and they're doing good things there. But they're gonna have to throw the ball to beat Brady, and now Brady and Evans all of a sudden have their connection going. So that's always dangerous.
I want to talk about that because that's some BS. Just because you beat up on a few practice squad corners, that does not mean you're all of a sudden red hot and ready to go to the Super Bowl. I mean,
I didn't say that. I just said, I mean, if it's not Evans, it's Godwin. I mean, it's somebody. Like, I mean, they're making touchdowns through the air.
They had one good. I wasn't even all that impressed with when they beat up on the Panthers. I mean, they literally hit 3 or 4 big plays. And listen, good for them for actually attempting and hitting on them. But at the end of the day, I don't think you understand how desperate that situation was in the secondary.
Oh, yeah.
They were not playing legit NFL corners.
Mike, they're a desperate team.
Tampa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They're a desperate team, But let's be honest, so is Dallas right now.
No, and yeah, let me just say, I have the Bucs to win cover. I hate to say it, I think the Bucs are probably the worst 8-win team we've seen make the playoffs, maybe ever. But I mean, this is just a terrible matchup for Dallas, on paper.
It really is, and they're a road favorite right now. Oh boy, make it a foursome.
I just want to hear what I wanted to hear what he was going to say about Dallas. What's up, Johnny? Congratulations on the new kid.
Thank you. What's up, guys?
Congrats.
What's up, man?
So I think the reason why Dallas's defense went down to shit is because Leighton Vander Esch has been out for the past couple weeks. And I know one player doesn't make a huge difference, but I'm pretty sure he's their defensive play caller, their captain. He's always at the ball. And I just saw this injury report, and it looks like he was full participation today. So
don't you feel like it's been more than a couple weeks, though, man? Kind of feel like it's been more than just a couple weeks.
What? His injury?
Dallas D has been shit.
I think it started going down to shit with the Jags game, or maybe the week before that. Forgot who they played before that.
The Jags game was really bad.
Right.
Dak was on his ass more that game than I've ever imagined.
Right, yeah. And I also think it was the play calling, too, especially with last week. I think that everyone knew that the Eagles were going to win once Jalen Hurts got the news that he was going to start. And I don't know why we kept all our players in through the fourth quarter. But the play calling, I don't think they were opening anything up. I think they were just doing some basic dumb play calls, and Dak was just not in it. I think everyone kind of gave up knowing that they were playing in a meaningless game. So I think their defense does get back on track today, or not today, on Monday. And Tampa Bay beat them in week 1. It's hard to beat the same team twice in a season, and I know Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's like 12-0 against Dallas or something, but I don't know about this year. I'm probably not going to bet them because they're my only team. I'd much rather look toward the over because their defense has been sus, and we don't know if they're actually going to be back on track. So the over might be the play in that game. I just don't think that it's a write-off at their write-off. They're going to lose. The Bucs are going to go. The Tom Brady's going to have this another magical postseason.
You might be better off with Cooper Rush.
I know.
Come on, Lauren.
I don't think so. Everyone likes to say that. He's a good quality backup quarterback, and I like him, and I'm glad we have him.
I do too. I like that kid. You know what I mean? He did some great things. Sorry about the Vikings there, Lawson, but he did some great things.
So
Yeah, he's good. And here's the thing: it's more about the psychology.
We got space. We could take.
No, but the thing about Cooper Rush, why I think it's a legitimate argument isn't because he's better than Dak. It's about the psychology of the play calling. That's what I look at with more.
And his game management, and he's very protective. He's not as risque, right? So Dak's kind of lately, Dak is kind of reminding me of a Cutler. Just start slinging it around, somebody will catch it. What are you doing? That's the water.
I also noticed he's been utilizing Dalton Schultz a little bit more too. So I think Dalton Schultz will actually eat up on Monday night.
Is Carlton Davis playing?
That's a good question. I can look at it real quick.
Yeah, check that because we need some player props this week.
I'll say this. I think there are a couple. Your pathway to victory, if you're Dallas, I think is. You have to get a few fluky turnovers, which I do think with how sloppy the Bucs have played this year is possible. Number 2, you have to get big plays and actually get something out of the run game because I don't like Dak going against Todd Bowles' blitzes because as you know, that's the kind of thing that actually frustrates him. So I think you get the run game going and you get some turnovers. I'll tell you what though, and I learned this from the Panthers game. If Carlton Davis doesn't play for whatever reason, you can take advantage of that Tampa Bay secondary because I mean Sam Darnold was like looking like Johnny Unitas out there. Like the stuff he was doing was crazy.
Until he wasn't, and ruined everything.
I know, yeah.
35.5 is that best line out there.
Ruined everything.
It was a rough fourth quarter.
Everything.
Yeah, Lauren,
ruined everything.
How awesome is that? Like, we lost and got y'all eliminated. Like, we literally took you down with us.
I mean, you took yourselves down too. So
hey,
whatever.
We got you guys out too, and then we kicked. Well, we didn't kick your ass, but we beat y'all the next week.
The sad thing about it, kick ass. What? 10-7. He didn't even throw for more than 43 yards that game. So honestly,
my gosh.
Really? Let's talk about an ass kicking.
We need to talk about that stat line. Lawson, did you see that game?
Terrible.
Did you see that?
So
why would he watch that trash game?
So Panthers beat the Saints last week, obviously. Sam Darnold went 10-7. Sam Darnold went 5 for 15 for 43 yards and 2 interceptions and 1.
I believe it.
Greatest stat line I've ever seen. And we ran for like 180 yards. It was hilarious.
You should be proud of that. You should be proud of that.
I am proud of that.
You should be proud of that.
Johnny, what over-under do you like most this week?
The best one I like, especially now that Mike Williams is out, is the under in the Chargers game.
Really?
No, I'm with them 100%.
Yeah, and another reason why I also really like it is because like I've been tracking a lot of line movement, and all of the money, I'm talking like 80-90% of the money is on the over, and it has not budged a single minute. So I mean they're just begging for people to take the over, and I think it's going to go under, and it's going to be, I think the Chargers defense has been playing a little bit better, I think, and so I think it'll stay under. I can see like a 20-17 game, 26-20, 24-20.
I think both defenses have been playing better. And do you think the Chargers are going to win? Are you on the Chargers train too?
Yeah, I am. I don't think Mike Williams will make a huge difference here just because their defense has been playing better. And I just see him as a deep threat. Like, I don't ever see his name being called or anything, his number on the screen, unless it's like a deep ball.
So you're going to see Herbert's game, Josh Palmer. You're going to see some Joshua Palmer, Austin Eckler. Like, let's be honest. Austin Eckler is literally a game changer. And, Mike, I love the story with the Jags, too. I really do. I think it's a great Cinderella story. In fact, I'd actually be a lot happier, and I think this would be a better wildcard weekend if Detroit somehow snuck in, but they didn't. So
that was BS, by the way.
That would have been way cooler if Detroit snuck in.
I think the Jags just played all their playoff games already. They already played these that comeback against Dallas the following week and the week after that. I trust Herbert more in the playoffs right now than Trevor Lawrence. Mm-hmm. And I know neither have been, but I think I would back Herbert in this scenario.
See, but I just think if Herbert's going to win this game, he's going to have to do it all on his own. At least I know Trevor's going to have some help.
On his own. Have you heard of Austin Eckler?
I don't think Austin Eckler is going to do that much on the ground. The Jags' run defense has been pretty decent lately.
Oh my God!
They shut passes
Eckler
too.
Yeah, he does catch passes. That could be an issue. Yeah, I will admit.
He is so dangerous. Like to be honest with you, like he's the best running back I think right now.
No, I agree. Yeah, he's been a stud. But I mean, shoot, you can look at his game against Jacksonville earlier this year. He didn't do anything.
Yes. Okay, we're talking about we're talking about a Herbert that had broken ribs. Okay, from the game before, a team that was completely banged up. I can't stand when people are comparing that game.
The only thing that's going to mess up the Chargers, and I've said it before, Lawson keeps reiterating it, is Staley. Staley makes the dumbest decisions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Him making a stupid 4th and 3 call and not getting it, or it's going to be him. It's always him.
The play calling is also just horrendous a lot.
Why they were playing their starters last week, I'll have no idea. But
why are you trying to go all out to beat Denver?
I don't know.
Yeah,
and it was decided at the 1:00 game that they couldn't move in seating. And shouldn't he be happy with facing the Jags? I don't think that's a bad matchup regardless. Mm-hmm. And man, with the Jags, I keep waiting for that pass rush to be dominant. I just haven't seen it. I wish it was, but
I think Staley was trying to be slick. I think he was trying to end the year with some good stats and a win, I'm like, oh, I'm telling everybody that I'm going to sit my players once we find out the news, and then it backfired on him. Completely backfired on him.
Oh, and he loves stats, man. Here's one thing that worries me. So in an interview before this season, him and Joe Lombardi, they have a stat guy in the booth with the offensive coordinator. So before they enter a drive, they already know if they're going to go for it on fourth down. I mean, like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's not even about the situation. They just make up their mind it's going to happen.
By the way, he's been calling those fourth down plays and situations. It makes sense because, didn't he go for 4th and 3 on his own 30 in one of the games and failed?
Yeah.
Why? There was no need. So he's going to do
He did
something
it against the Raiders the last game last year too, and I've seen him do it a lot this year. I've also seen him get clenched too. He gets really nervous easy, so I would not rule out anything with him.
However, if they do get past the Jags, I think they're going to be super dangerous. I think that's the Chiefs' kryptonite, and I think the Bills can get eliminated before the conference game. So who knows? I think they could actually go all the way. They just got to get past the Jags first. The Jags might be their toughest opponent.
That's a good point. And speaking of the Chiefs, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you're looking at possibly having to play the Chargers and the Bengals in back-to-back weeks, and those are probably the last two teams you want to see.
Yeah, the Chiefs don't want to see the Chargers at all. They know them best. Herbert has played the best against the Chiefs. The Chargers alone have played the best against the Chiefs, so they don't want to see them at all.
And the Bengals just can't the Chiefs cannot figure out how to beat the Bengals in a close game for some reason.
Yeah, Joe Burrow kind of owns them.
Yeah.
He sure does.
The other thing too about the Chargers, coming into this week, they were already playing well. They were playing good football. I mean, Tampa, I kind of understood why they played their starters. They weren't playing their best.
Tom Brady wanted to break his own record. That's why. As soon as he broke his own record, he left. I swear to God, I'm pretty sure that's why he played. He's like, I'm good. Get me out.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
So listen. I got a question for you guys. I want everyone's opinion. If Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl, is it his job next year?
I think it's his job now. I think he's already locked that up.
You think so?
I think so, man.
Yeah.
You guys think he's locked this up? Trey Lance is done on the chart or on the 49ers?
I was never a believer in Trey Lance, and I hope they've given up on him. He's got legs, but I never thought he was a good passer. I never thought he made good reads. I mean, for the little time we saw him. So I was never a Trey Lance fan.
Yeah, and Trey Lance, I still remember that Chicago bat where I had San Fran -6.5.
That game was kind of BS, though. I mean, that was a monsoon.
That was the slip and slide.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
Slip and slide. Crocodile Mile game.
See, Austin, no offense, but that's why, I don't like betting games too early in advance. Because, if you pull up at 12:30 on Sunday and see that's a literal, hurricane in Chicago, okay, that's a good indicator to, pull out.
Yeah.
But
so you really think Purdy's got the job? Purdy's got the job?
I think so.
Yeah. But I'll give you an example. I went back and forth with this my whole life. But I'll give you an example last week. When the Vikings were a money pick on Tuesday, they were -3. The closing line was -8. Of course, they covered the -8 against Chicago. But at the end of the day, with a large sample size, you do get better value, especially with the lines the way they've been shifting this year.
That's true.
And like Johnny was mentioning, he gave one example of how a lot of these lines get really, really lopsided. I can't recall it being like this in the past. You always have your 85-15. I remember one time I bet Cam Newton against the Dolphins, 90% were on that. And of course, that didn't hit. But I've never seen more lopsided line betting than this year, and I don't understand that.
It's the public betting. Betting in general has gotten so popular, but people are just going off of what they saw the previous week or their favorite teams. So that's why you get all these lopsided lines on big percentages. And whenever the public is heavily on one side, I think you have a very, very high chance of hitting the other side. Public dogs usually tend to lose. Public favorites tend to lose.
Yeah.
Lawson, I don't know if your Vikings are going to make it out of week 1. To be
I'm on the Giants.
Yeah, Lawson.
I'm not sure.
I don't
trust that team as far as you can throw them.
Lawson, I I have the Vikings to win, but man, you better be ready for like a 4-quarter just grinder, man. That's
Dude.
not going to be a fun 3 hours.
I would not touch that game with your money.
Yeah,
Like,
that's definitely.
That's the thing. Like, the Giants are really hard to even throw out there, especially as a road, to come on the road and win against a team that can score or whatever. But that Minnesota defense is so damn bad. I can't even believe this team right now has a record that they do.
Can we agree that that's the hardest game to pick this week?
Yes, we can. I can.
don't think it's that hard.
Not with spread, man. Not with spread.
Oh, I'm saying like straight up. Well, you guys still think?
Yeah, no, I think it probably is, even though I think the Vikings win.
Absolutely. I think they should win, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the Giants to win. I think they have so much more momentum coming down the stretch than the Vikings do. The Vikings have been looking bad for a while now. Yeah, they squeak out these wins. Like that Colts game was crazy, right?
Oh,
They came back, but like they're always grinding out. Don't they have the most like one possession games or wins or something like that? Luck.
No, yeah,
Luck
they do. It's like I think they've won more than like 10 games like that. It's insane. I'm very interested if they win this week.
Isn't luck at a certain point, like because
True.
it happens every week. And
It's good coaching.
I feel like the Giants have had a ton of luck this year. Like I know Minnesota's in the microscope because they've had like the big wins, like against the Bills. They had those type of big wins.
Win. That was a fumble.
They won. They were down 14 points at Buffalo. They come back to win, and then Justin Jefferson is an absolute force of nature. That catch he made was probably the best catch in NFL history.
That was a big one.
I can agree. That was amazing.
At a certain point, this game is about dogs. It's about whose dogs are better than the other guy's dogs. And I
would trust. Yeah, I agree there. But Kirk Cousins has been so suspect lately that I just don't. I mean, I would.
Even Dalvin Cook has too. Dalvin Cook hasn't been performing that
Yeah.
much. The only real dog, in my opinion, on that Vikings team is Justin Jefferson. But we saw what happens when he gets shut down, right?
Yeah, they don't have an answer.
That offense is nothing.
I'm very curious
they got
to see.
Hawkinson. They got Thielen.
They do have
Look at
Hawkinson.
Osborne going off. Like,
is Hawkinson healthy? Didn't he get hurt?
No, he's going to play.
Okay.
My main concern is about Darisaw. He's finally healthy. Unfortunately, the Vikings right tackle O'Neal's out. Really worried about that because that's Thibodeau. But yeah, man, I just feel like Daniel Jones is going under the radar. Like no one watched Giants, Texans, and all of those games they played off the coverage. Vikings have been front and center for all of America to see. So they're getting a lot of criticism. Like even my dad's going off, like saying the coaching's bad and stuff. Like, no, it's just the defense is bad. And Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. Like, I agree. But Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones, and it helps playing Daniel Jones.
I'm very curious to see what the line looks like next week for the Vikings game if they end up winning this game.
They're going to be an underdog.
Who they play.
They'll definitely be an underdog. But like say they have to go to like San Francisco or if they have to play Dallas again, like that would be crazy.
If they played at San Fran, I think it would be like 10 points. Like that's where people I think are missing what the Vikings struggle with. Like they would struggle with a team like San Fran.
They can't play it over there, and there's no way. It'll be a late game if so because of the time, and it'll just be a dumpster fire. I'm telling you, 1:00 games at home for the Vikings are when you can bank on them to win.
Yeah.
I think
if
that
you're
overhits.
a trend better, that would be one of the few trends I would subscribe
The
to.
regular 1:00 Joe Schmo game, 1:00 in the afternoon, in their dome, that's when you're safe. Anything out of that, just no thanks. It's got to be cookie cutter, very cookie cutter for them. Like,
yeah, but I'm trying to think of all the games they covered this year. The record against the spread's pretty damn good. Yeah, man. Listen, I think people are like here's the thing about the Vikings. I do think people overreacted to that Packers loss. Yeah, it was a bad beat to take. Of course it was. But then people came out and were riding the Packers like crazy last week, getting a little bit too excited about a team that didn't show up.
Sure.
Vikings are showing up this week.
But I think Detroit is better than the Vikings. At this point in time in the year, I think Detroit has a better team.
I wouldn't go that far.
Player for player, or is it just because what you saw in the past couple of weeks? Because they were good.
Yeah, at the end of the season, if we're going to compare how each team was playing, I think Detroit was playing better.
Yeah, but the Vikings never got lambasted by a team like the Carolina Panthers either.
They did by the Eagles.
Yeah, but that was like week
2.
The Eagles are fucking legit, and they're not the Carolina Panthers.
Hey, show some respect here. We almost won the
True.
No, it's a point. I just think people like Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks, Hunter, Zadarius Smith. Those are guys Detroit doesn't have on defense. But
7-8-1 was the Vikings' ATS record this year.
I thought it was better.
Those one possession games, man.
Yeah, man. What was the? I want to see the Giants record.
The Giants record
Giants
ATS is 12-4.
Dude, the Giants.
What is
They're
it?
number 2 behind the Bengals.
What is it?
12-4.
Woo!
The Giants snuck out some wins though early in the season.
Yeah,
Like Lawson has a point there. They snuck out some wins earlier in the season, but they've slowed down ever since.
Like I remember when they beat the Jags. Giants were like, what were they like 5-0 or 5-1? They go to the Jags. Jags only won one game. Giants are +3. Like,
yeah. And they still almost lost. By the way, they still almost lost that game.
Yeah, man. Who's your Super Bowl picks?
Oh gosh.
Dude, I want to say the Niners. I don't want to go against. I don't want to say the Eagles because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I think it's between the Niners and the Eagles. Although earlier in the year, I did put a future bet in, a couple $100 just to see what happens on the Vikings to win the NFC Championship. So I think if they get past this round, I think they could do it. I think it's the same deal with the Chargers. Their first.
What do you
round
have
might be
for
the
the
first round.
AFC? What do you have for AFC? Everyone knows.
Okay.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't think the Bills. I'll tell you that. I don't think the Bills. I think.
Am I the only one that's got Cincinnati?
You know what, Lauren? I hate to
Say
say
again.
it, but you're talking to me into it. If the Chiefs have to play the Bengals and the Chargers, I can't see them beating both those teams, and I don't think the Chargers are good enough to make it. So unless the Bills just like.
Who is playing better than the Cincinnati Bengals right now?
No, you're right, and that's the other thing too. The Bengals are playing really great football right now.
Well,
So
the Chiefs
I'd
have
have
been
to.
playing good
But
too.
listen, in the
Their defense
AFC,
snuckily came alive in the later parts of the year. So I still think they're up there to win it. Like you said, their odds aren't that great, but I just don't think the Bills are going to close out. They've been playing actually worse, I think. Like look at all their first halves. They've been coming back, making comebacks, but they haven't been. They're not playing how they were at the beginning of the year. They're the best regular season football.
No, they were definitely balls out at the beginning of the year. And I'll be honest with you, I know Cincinnati was very suspect at the beginning of the year, but I told you guys they're a young team and they're gelling together as the weeks go on, as the year goes on. They will get better and better every week, and I don't see anybody playing better than them, including the Buffalo Bills.
and call me crazy about the Bills, but if they didn't hit on those 2 returns last week, they would have lost to the Patriots. The Patriots had them against the ropes multiple times in that
Dude,
game.
I had the Patriots to cover, and I was.
So did I.
Y'all were close. I mean, seriously, those 2 returns were the difference.
I had the Patriots to cover.
No, but we all agree on it. Like I think this Bills defense is really suspect. You guys can talk about the offense, but this Bills defense is suspect. Secondary suspect.
Even Josh Allen, once you get to him and he can't make plays, he gets flustered. How many underthrown like flat routes did he throw? You know, just to the running back, underthrew them. Like, how do you do that? How can you land these 50-yard bombs, but you can't throw a little 10-yard out or whatever?
That's why I wish we had a situation with Tua out there this week. It would be like 7.5, like it was that game earlier in the year, and that's a great bet. But
he would probably never walk again.
I will say this for the Bills game. I think if you want to bet it, you have to attack the first quarter or the first half.
I mean,
Yeah.
that poor kid needs to make a decision about his career right now because it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
bad.
I said, I don't think he's gonna be playing quarterback next year for our team. Like you,
I don't see it. He doesn't need to be.
For his own safety, like especially, I think what happened with the DeMar Hamlin situation is like
Yeah.
really gonna like not. I don't want to say impact his decision, but kind of like open his eyes and open the eyes of people around him. You know.
Well, I'm afraid they're going to try to ban football. So I really think Tua should be able to do whatever the hell he wants. But yeah, I don't want to see football banned. So prefer he doesn't play.
Yeah.
But,
I hate to say it, but I think Bengals might be the pick for the Super Bowl out of the AFC. And I hate to say it, but you know, if
So
Kansas City,
last
has to.
Well, I say last year at this time, Cincinnati was going to play in Tennessee, right? Last year, Cincinnati was going to play Tennessee. Nobody gave them a chance. They went in there, they beat Tennessee. Okay, the following week, Cincinnati went to Kansas City. Nobody gave. They were like a 10-point underdog. Nobody gave them a chance. They went in there. This team is legit, guys, and they're going to be good for years to come.
Hey, Lauren, what happened in that Super Bowl though?
I mean, come on.
They got.
I mean,
beat by the Los Angeles Rams without Odell Beckham.
Half of the game, right? So yes, they did. They lost by 3. They lost by 3.
The Rams
were
were
in
legit.
that game the whole time.
Rams were legit
in
in like
that game the
spiral
whole
mode
time.
for a quarter, and the Bengals could have put them down.
And you know what? Where the hell are the Rams right now? Where are they?
They got my boy Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, your boy Baker Mayfield. Your boy Baker Mayfield.
If
You know what I mean?
just gets sacked in the last play of the game, he throws it to Jamar Chase and he bursts for like a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
but he got sacked. That's football.
But he got sacked.
Well,
Aaron
and
Donald.
that's the problem. That was the crazy thing. Their offensive line's actually good this year, so
they fixed that problem.
Credit to them for rebuilding
taking
out
8 sacks and winning playoff games on the road. I would never bet that formula. I will go with it because they're actually decent up front. But isn't La'el Collins hurt? Did I hear that? Or I'll check it.
I think it's between the Bengals and the Chargers. I'm just going to say that now.
You guys have San Fran covering this 10 points or whatever it is?
Nope, no chance.
Seattle covered?
Seattle. I mean, it's hard to win by 10 points in the NFL. We're at a playoff game and a divisional game yet again. Third time these people are seeing each other. Who knows each other's team more than those two teams? And the Seahawks get smacked around by the 49ers. So I think it's their time to finally at least keep it close. Maybe Purdy gets shooken up by the playoffs.
That's a really tough game to pick, though. Like, I mean, the Seahawks in both their matchups against the Niners this year just look so bad, and they don't match up with the Niners well at all. Like the Seahawks don't even look good right now. Like coming in here, I mean, they should have lost that game to LA first and foremost.
No, and we should be seeing the Detroit Lions is who we should be seeing right now.
Yes.
Oh, that would be good,
dude. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so.
Can we talk about that? Like, I'm not saying the NFL is scripted. But the way the 1 o'clock window went and the 4 o'clock window went, you could tell that the NFL was trying to get the Packers in the playoffs. Like the end of that Rams Seahawks game was so suspect with some of the calls and no calls that the Hawks got. It was insane. Like it seemed like the NFL wanted the Seahawks to win, so the Lions would go in that Packers game demoralized, and then A-Rod would pull it out and get in the playoffs. And we almost had that. Like I don't like to say the NFL is scripted or like rigged or anything like that, but the end of that Rams Seahawks game was one of the oddest things I've seen in a long time.
I agree.
And, I agree.
La'el Collins is not on the injury report from what I'm seeing.
Okay, got you. And here's my worry. I'm worried about the Seahawks front. Did I just boot Mike from the room? Did I do that by accident?
Is it his conspiracies? Is that why?
Is it because he's just obsessing over Baker Mayfield right now? Because I don't.
But anyway, okay, Mike's
Stafford retired, didn't he?
My bad.
Yeah, what's everyone's best bet before we leave? Because I gotta go.
I gotta go to Cincinnati minus whatever the hell it is. I don't even care. You want to bet the money line? Be safe that way. But Cincinnati, you guys know, is my best bet.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go with the under in the Jackson Chargers game.
You got me. I was on the other side, man, but I don't know.
No, yeah, I'm also on that train. I mean, with all the injuries the Chargers have right now, give me the under in that Jags Chargers, and I'm picking the Jags to win straight up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. No, but that's
What are you
good.
laughing? It's so funny right now.
It's just the way you said it, you're like, really? You're gonna pick them.
She's like, you can do better.
I mean, like, I'm all like happy for the Jags too, but I don't know, man. The Chargers are good.
Yeah, but they're without Mike Williams. They're coming in this game limping.
Rashawn
Slater's out.
Mike Williams has played not even half a year.
And you know what the Chargers' record is when he's not in? 1-5. They've been absolutely crap without him on offense. And now you got Rashawn Slater out as well.
But they also didn't have Keenan Allen either.
That's true.
You got to have one of the two. If you got one of the two, you're okay.
I think the Jags could at least keep up though. If you tell me that the Jags only have to cover one of them.
Isn't it like a 1-point spread? Like it's a pick.
Yeah, if you're gonna be on the Jags, you should have already been on it or should get on it.
Yeah.
It's moving down.
I'm on the Jags. I'm on the Jags 100%.
Yeah.
Really? I don't see that, man.
I'm trying to be bold here, but I do legit think the Jags can do this.
Both is there, right?
I don't think it's crazy. It's a one-score game. I've liked the Chargers all week, but
I have too. I mean, I can see it. It is a pick 'em, but I don't know. I got to go Chargers.
We talked about it too, earlier. The Doug Peterson versus Staley matchup in the playoffs.
Now that I can agree with, and the Jags could be this year. The Jags could be last year's Cincinnati Bengals.
No, I don't see that. Maybe. I don't think they have I don't think they have enough talent in the receiving core to really keep up with some of the more high explosive offenses in the NFL. But I think for this week we can ride them.
I got the Chargers. I really do. I don't. Again, it's a pick 'em, but I got the Chargers. I have Seattle to cover. I have Tampa to cover. I don't know if they're going to win, but I definitely have them. I think it's going to be maybe a 1 or 2 point game.
That's another thing about the Cowboys game is that everyone's saying Tom Brady's record against the Cowboys.
I hate trend betting. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean,
if that's the case, and everyone's saying that, why did they make the Cowboys favorite? Don't you think the books know that? Don't you think they have all the stats and trends, and they still made the Cowboys favorites? It's almost like they're begging you to take.
I mean, Tampa has won 7 games.
Yeah,
and they're hosting a playoff game, and still getting a high draft pick.
They have 8 wins. They have 8 wins, and they had no business winning at least 4 of them. I think they were down 10 or more in 4 of those wins.
Oh God!
Even
the Arizona game as of recently. Yeah, I don't even know they deserve to win that game.
No,
they played their best game of the year offensively against the Panthers, and they still almost lost to Sam Darnold, who literally completed 5 passes and won the next week. So that's where we're at with the bucket.
43 yards.
I'm off the sides on that. I'm just on totals.
Sorry.
Over in the Cowboys game, over in the Vikings game, and under in the Chargers game.
I could see an upset with the Giants.
I want to bet them. I'm like this close to betting the Giants.
I don't trust Daniel Jones enough. I do like the coach, and you know what I'm saying, but I don't trust Daniel Jones enough to do it. So, Mike got booted again. I don't trust Daniel Jones enough because really, on paper, Kirk Cousins and the Vikings have the better team. They have the better playmakers. They have the better everything on both sides of the ball. So if they play to their potential, they should blow the Giants out of the water. It should be like 27-10. But will that happen? Right. But exactly.
Yeah.
And it's 4 o'clock.
It's going to be a good weekend. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I just like I said, I wish we got to but anyway.
Lamar.
Lamar. Oh my God! If we had Lamar, this game would be way more exciting.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I'd probably be tempted to take the Ravens because I love their defense since they got Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted just to play Joker.
yeah. Tua and Lamar.
Mr. Contrarian.
Oh yeah, probably contrarian's good this year. Like it's whatever you think. Like I've been shaken this year since the Cowboys lost to the Packers. So yeah, that still doesn't make any sense to me. Like Packers are a terrible team.
That was their best game this season.
I'm gonna let you guys wrap up here because I gotta dip out. But I'm so glad I got to see you guys, and I hope everybody makes some money this week. God bless us, everyone.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, see you guys. I'm gonna go.
Bye.
Take it easy, guys. Good luck.
Yo, thank you guys for coming on.
Yep, thanks for
Yeah,
having
this
us.
was awesome. I'll see you later.
Later.
See you, Mike. See you, Johnny.